Hello and welcome to the Grounded Man Live. My name is Braden Stockfish. I am the visionary leader here at the Grounded Man. And the Grounded Man is the community for men who are ready to stop living on autopilot and start taking control of their life to be the leaders that they can for themselves, for their families, and for their communities. And we do that here by diving into the 6 pillars of self-leadership. Today is this month is all about mental health, one of those pillars, and so we're going to be talking about that today. I'm joined here with Vlad. Y'all know Vlad.
Hey everybody, nice to see you all again.
And we got Dave here as well, joining us today for this conversation.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So yeah, Dave is actually going to be leading our open house next week here in Ottawa. So once a month, we open up the doors of our community for guys in the public to come in and see what this community is all about and experience what it feels like to be in a container with men who are really just coming together to get better at being men, to put it simply. And so, yeah, Dave's going to take us through a practice on that, which I'm really excited to have you lead and see some of your magic come through.
Man. I'm excited.
Yeah. But yeah, today I wanted us to all kind of talk about mental health. That's the theme of the month. There's a lot that can go into mental health, and I know guys, it's popular to talk about right now of like some of the struggles that men face with mental health and coping with that. But the piece that really comes up for me, and we can tangent as much as we need to, is like the fight for captivating our awareness as men and captivating our attention. I feel like attention is such a precious commodity in this world that we live in because it's so scattered. And I think, I don't know exact numbers, but if you look at data, it's like the attention span of a man in his 30s has like drastically gone down in the last couple decades because of like social media and all this like fast fixed content, porn, all of these things, marketing, right? It's all just like vying for our attention. And I think one of the most noble acts we can take as men is to like hone and cultivate our attention. And part of that is just like the stories of the mind. It's like, what are you telling yourself on a daily basis? What are you putting your attention towards? And is it serving you? And I think that's one of the biggest pieces that when we bring guys into the community that we notice with them is like, hey, you need to start cultivating your awareness on what are your patterns? What are the stories you're telling yourself in your head? How is your mental health? And how can we start to support you to like take some of that power back into your own hands so that you're, I like to think of it as puppy training. And it's like most of us have an untrained puppy as a mind where it's just running around, pissing where it wants, ripping up the house, and we don't have control versus like, a German shepherd that is sitting at your side waiting for like, what do you want me to do next? Where should my attention be next? And having that level of command over it, which obviously I'm still working on. I think all of us are.
Yeah. It's a practice.
Just want to kind of open it up and see like, yeah, how does that feel for you guys of navigating that puppy training?
Yeah, I think it's important to note here too, like a lot of men, I should bring this a little closer in. Yeah, a lot of men, I don't even know if they're like aware that their attention is being expanded, right? It's because all of this stuff happens slowly over time, right? And so, as we deal with life, and obviously as you get older and more stuff comes your way, more and more of your attention is taken outwards, and the impacts that it has on you, self, mind, mental health, like it's not always apparent until you reach a stage where it's like, oh man, this is kind of heavy, and well, I mean, even last night we saw it with the men that were in the container. Like, how many of us were dealing with so much like pressure,
burden, responsibility, pressure.
Exactly. And so it's just, I think the first point is the acknowledgement of like, hey, like this is here, and I think I need to look into this.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah, it's not working anymore.
No.
Right. And that's where like I love that we have the mental health and emotional health back to back because they're so closely tied together. And the way that I relate to that is like mental health is like the creative aspect of like, how am I interfacing with reality Because two people going through the same experience, you know, one will have a very different experience of that than the other based off of, again, their mental health, which is like, what are the beliefs you have about the world? What's your identity? You know, all of that aspects. And then the emotional component is that's the feedback mechanism of like, oh, how does reality feel from the mental constructs that I inhabit? You know, and so like we're talking about like when we're in the group right now, a lot of potent energies out there. It doesn't matter whether you're into esotericism or not. Shit's going down, and that brings up all of the stuff that needs to get worked on. And the emotional body tells you like, "Ooh, this does not work. This does not work for me. This is something that I need to transform." And for me personally, like we're talking about attention. And so where your attention goes, energy flows. I know that's a common saying.
Yeah.
And that for me, the way that I relate to change, especially like internal and personal change, is awareness. Let me have awareness of this thing and keep my focus on it, like keep my attention on it, and not like make it wrong or make it bad or try to like, you know, be too quick or premature in fixing something. Because that's, I think, at least for me as a guy, as a man, it's just like fix it, you know. And it can be a practice of cultivating patience with like, let me actually like spend more time with this pattern and not like allow the reaction to happen. And then over time be like, oh, this is deeper than I thought, or it's different, right? Like if you're too quick on it, you can make a quick fix. And then it's not in, you know, the long-term health of the individual, or it's like, it's not well calibrated.
Does it even align to the values or
exactly
you, right?
Yeah, even for me right now, going through my own pressure and transformation, I feel I feel some old parts of me that are coming up and asking for attention. And it's so, my response is either to like fix or just like address it and then move away so that I can focus on the productive things. It's like, well, that's not productive. But really pausing and taking the time to really like let that energy come in and feel and be like, hey, what are you scared of? You know, because that's what it feels like for me as a little teenager that doesn't want to grow up. And it's like, okay, I get that you don't want to do that. And there's that mentality that I could just be like, oh, well, you're a little bitch. I'm going to sharpen you into like what you need to be and make it happen. And it's like, okay, that's necessary sometimes. But also sometimes it's like, come in and tell me about your fear. You know, let me understand myself a little deeper. And it's like, oh, actually, you know, when I do that, I realize like there's pain that I'm holding from the past that once I feel it, then I start to like come into that fullness of my fire. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, now I'm ready to take action. And it feels like I've integrated it.
Yeah.
But a lot of guys don't have the awareness yet and not to like pedestal or create that. It's a practice of cultivating awareness and cultivating attention, and we're all at different levels. But yeah, I love, you know, even one of the newer guys the other day noticed how some of the guys in the group have shifts, and we're catching ourselves in our language of like, oh, you know, I have to do this thing. Oh, well, actually I'm choosing to, and I get the opportunity to do this. And it's like just those awareness pieces on how we're speaking and using language and spells to create our reality is so powerful. And to get that noticed by someone, I was like, oh, nice. Like,
it was their second meeting.
And
they're like, oh, I've been working on this deliberately for like the past couple of years, and I know that this is a really important part, and I think it's really cool that you guys do it naturally. It's like, it's like, is this part of the curriculum? It's like, no, we don't have a curriculum. Like, you know, we don't tell you how to talk, but it's just like when there's good positive mirroring, that happens.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think talking about some of the struggles, I mean, I feel like all of us are in a bit of a contraction right now. You know, for me, talking about it, it's like, yeah, there's fatherhood on the horizon, which is just like
little step in.
And so yeah, that's the piece that like it feels like I was playing being a man like, you know, a few months ago, and like now in the last few months it's like, oh, okay, there's a whole new game here. And yeah, a lot of inadequacies coming up, a lot of pieces that I'm like, woof, man, I need to care for this part of my inner world as a child, because I otherwise, like, I'm not going to be able to show up fully in the ways that I want to as a man. And so, yeah, there's a lot stirring up for me in that right now that is beautiful and scary and exciting all at the same time. But that's some of the pressure that I'm kind of facing right now. And when I hear other guys sharing stories, even last night, it's like such different scenarios,
Yeah.
but very much similar energy. So yeah, just curious to hear more of like what you guys are facing.
But yeah, inadequacy and competence have been coming up. And I noticed like one of the triggers this week was like when we were in the car and we were talking about work things, and you were like, "Oh, okay, like tell me what you do." Like no one knows what you do, and like what's the two liner? And that's something that's like I come from a business background, I come from marketing, I've gone through the courses, I know the stuff, and this is different from like when there's an embodied aspect, and then sometimes it's a similar thing. Knowing things is one step, and then embodying that is a very different. I was not in the headspace for that, and like I just got into a freeze. You know, it's you and Gabby in the front seat and stuff like that. We just come from a climb. I'm just like having a good time, like chill. It's like, oh, and then what do you do? And I'm like, and it gets into like business coaching mode, and I'm like, and I had a real freeze response, and I was so surprised. I was like, wow, this is hitting my nervous system so strong,
Yeah.
and like these are things that I know, and I'm like, you know, brings up like I'm embarrassed. You know, like I know what to do. You're telling me things that I know, and it's like, and the other thing, I'm in the back seat. You're with Gabby in the front seat, and so it brings up, you know, like parental power, you know, parental power dynamics, and I'm just like, you know, I'm like, and then the fact that I'll be honest, like for me, like you know, I've been pretty open with you. That's like, oh, I'm noticing like my relationship with women and like how I found a lot of value and meaning and impact from like being there for women, you know, and that I get a lot out of that. I've always had women teachers and relationship with mom. You know, as a golden child, so it's like, okay, make mom happy. And so having Gabby in the front seat, I definitely knew, and I could tell in the experience, I was like, oh, this is harder for me with you there and Gabby's there, because I'm like not wanting to be embarrassed and being competent in front of a woman. You know, it doesn't matter that they're taken and that they're you know, one of my best friend's partners is just like shut down, you know, trigger. And I'm like, oh, this runs deeper than I thought. So it's been manifesting, especially like on the work dharma side, which is something that I've been a little bit less focused on just with, you know, a lot of other things in life, you know, separated from partner of 16 years last year and living together. But it's like all of the excuses are off the table that I've been using for a while. And so it's like, oh, I got to look this in the face. I'm like, ooh, this runs deeper than I thought. And so that's been the confronting part, is also, it's like, oh, okay, like, let me dance with this. And even with, you know, the toolbox and the toolkit, and like, this is work that I do with people. This is the value of community and brotherhood too, is like, even though I have the tools, it's like, I can't do it. I can't run it on my own. Like it just doesn't work, you know? And we were literally talking about that in, you know, circle yesterday in our sharing circle. And it's like, so many of us have incredible toolkits, have like gone through these experiences. And if you try to do it in isolation, it does not work. And that's where you need to have brothers and, you know, beyond that, like community to mirror you, whether that's working with professionally or at least like it being in a men's group, an affinity group. So that way you can like talk and get that positive reflection, be like, hey, I can see you in a way that you can't see yourself, because you're in like a hallway, you know, you're a mirror hallway right now. But yeah, incompetence, and especially like how much value I get out of my connection with women has been what's being reflected. And I still think I'm right in the middle of it. So the other thing too that I have to be totally honest with is like, and humble, is on the patient side, it's like, let me be with this for longer than I'm comfortable with. You know, because I need to get a full picture of like, okay, what are the ways in which this resistance is popping up, and like, what does that tell me about my belief structures and about these thoughts on reality that I need to know, so that way I can be like, ooh, it's not going to work for me, you know, long term.
Yeah. There's a part there that resonates, and that's when you were saying like having the men's group available to you. I know for me, definitely starting 2026 has, as much as I wanted it to be like a slow start, it has been like, this is winter. I should be reflecting and like taking it slow and like
King
building
energy
up for spring. Nah, man, life's just decided that, you know what, like, here you go, have all of this. And so trying to juggle all of these things, but show up as a husband, show up as a father as well. Yeah, I just find that like it gets to a stage where it truly feels overwhelming. And I find that like I'm almost like glitching in the brain, because I'm trying to juggle everything and balance everything and make sure everything's taken care of, but it's coming at the detriment of myself. And like even last night, like, oh, I was so grateful even before showing up, like, because I'm, yes, I'm going through it, but I only have my own perspective.
Yeah.
And then seeing all of the men like, hey, I'm dealing with this and I'm dealing with this. And yes, we're dealing with different scenarios, but we're all dealing with that same heavy energy. And so right away I was like, oh, like I'm not alone.
Yeah.
And so showing up last night and sharing, and it was magic for me, because like I was sharing this last night, like my wife is smaller and like I needed to be held by men. And like she tries, and it's wonderful and it's great in its way, but like I needed to be held by another man.
Yeah.
And last night, like I got that, and like it recharged me. And like that's just the magic of like our container in general, is like it just gives you an opportunity to connect in a way with men that many of us, like we try to do it alone, and maybe that's the manly thing, and that's how society, this is you should tough it out, but like sometimes it's just nice to submit and be received.
Yeah, that's something that coming back, being away for a month, being away from our community, from the brotherhood, just with my partner for that whole time, it was cool to feel that sense of missing, of like, wow, I actually miss being around a group of men, which I haven't had the experience of really before in the way that I got to this time, and feeling like, oh, there's guys that miss me there, and getting to come back and feel that sense. And even when I was there, when I left that voice note with you guys, like a more intimate group where I was really feeling not enough and in my wounding, and like going through pieces as I navigate this with my partner, sending that message, like there was that feeling inside of like, oh, I could talk to Gabby about this, but that would probably be a detriment to our relationship. She doesn't need to hold this. Not only is she physically smaller, but like energetically it's not smaller, but it's like, oh, it's the wrong energy to hold that pain that I'm carrying. It's gonna disrupt our container more than it's gonna add to it. And then when I thought of you guys, I'm like, oh, this is where I put this.
Exactly.
Like I send a message to my guys, and like crying, that was the piece that I was like, I gotta go do it now, because I'm in the emotion now, and I want these men to like feel me in my emotion. And getting to do that, and the responses I got and the connection that facilitates, to me is like unparalleled. Like I couldn't get that anywhere else. And that's been a piece in already in this 2026, the ways that we've built bonds just in our group. I feel like, wow, there's a love and appreciation that I have for men and brotherhood on a whole new level that I wouldn't trade for anything. It's as valuable in a different way as the love I share with my partner. It's like, it's a completely different sense of intimacy, but I can't imagine life now moving forward without having that balance of those poles. And for my mental health, it helps me to thrive even when it's difficult. It's like a relief going into a meeting like last night, knowing,
oh my gosh,
like, yes, I get to bring all of this in here, and like, yes, everyone is bringing this here,
But like, what a healthy practice to actually be able to like let some of those emotions out. Right. Like how many of us hold back like sadness and anger, and like these are heavy emotions, right? And it plays a massive like part on your mental health, on your physical health, right? Like just everyday like things, so like to have a place where you can just let it out. And how many of us did last night, and just what a relief to like to feel that. But also, and the beauty of our container as well is it allows you, like, it tells you it's okay. You know what I mean? To connect with these emotions. And so like to cry it out on your own or stuff, like there's nothing wrong with that, And so it's like being okay with like, hey, like we create a space where it's comfortable to let the stuff out is huge to allow you to take the steps to heal and just expel some of that.
Yeah, not only comfortable, welcomed, like honored. Like I remember getting your message and being like I have so much respect for you, man. Like getting that, and it feels like I feel more like a man when it's like, and you're willing to share that with me, and I can hold that, and it's like such a beautiful thing. And yeah, the privilege to like hold other men and to witness them in their process, and it's beautiful. Like it's like so touching.
Yeah, and it makes me realize how blessed we are, because when I hear stats of like most men
Yeah.
don't have, one person they can confide in outside of their wife or their partner,
Mm-hmm.
and those surface level relationships that guys have, and that like loneliness can be, more of a detriment to your health than like smoking 15 cigarettes a day or something. And it's
Totally.
like, holy shit, the world that we're living in, again, it's diffusing our attention, pulling it in all these directions, and isolating you and putting all that pressure on of like who you need to be. You got to do this all alone, all this stuff. And it's like, man, we got to break that mold in our society, and show like, hey, there's something more that's possible, and it's actually natural. This feels, the more I connect in this way with men, it's like, oh, this is the play. This is how we're supposed to do this.
Yeah.
Like, this is how people must have survived, because they did this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, how do we translate that to guys that, and because it's not necessary, I think a lot of guys out there think like, oh, they have to come into these places, and that means, first of all, something's wrong with you. And it's like, dude, nothing's wrong with you. What's wrong is that we live in this crazy culture that's expecting you to like be all of us, to be the same, and that's not who we are. We're unique individuals. And so that's the first part. There's nothing wrong, but also you don't have to just come and like dump everything of your mental health. Like, we are comfortable talking about it because we've practiced and we've leaned in and done this. Some of the guys come in, right, and they just come and listen at first.
Yes.
Like, just listen, because you can get so much out of hearing another man's story. I mean, even as I hear you guys here, I'm like, oh, I'm softening. I'm tuning into you more. And it's like, that helps me to move through some of my own emotion.
100%.
And so it's just like, how do we bridge that gap for guys that think like, oh, this is a whole new space for me. We know the comfort of it because we've been in it. But yeah, it's getting guys to come in and see like, hey, this isn't some weird, cult or therapy group. It's like, this is a necessity, I think, as actually
100%.
a man. It's
a foundational element to being a man. I think one of the things that like is beautiful about all of the mirroring that's coming up around, like, again, boy, teenage energy, but like incompetence and all those things, because that was a big theme, is it's easy for us to forget that it's like, oh, men still have those parts, like, and that's part of the dance of being a man. Is just like, oh yeah, and like we take care of, our inner children and our inner family as well, from like a, internal family systems type of a model.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that we're not wrong. It's like we can be the stewards of those parts.
Yep.
Yeah, and take care of them. Yep. And getting to remember that it's like, oh right, I don't need to be perfect. Vlad's going through his stuff, Braden's going through his stuff, whoever's in the meeting, we're all going through our stuff. Okay, right. Yeah.
But I also think like hearing other men go through it, hearing their voices just creates exactly that, the softening and like it's okay that I'm dealing with this too, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not alone in this journey.
Yeah.
And I think for us, especially the way like we're constructed as human beings, like we want to be accepted, we want to be received. And so when you know that others are going through it as well, it just makes you feel like, like you're together in this, right? And I think that that's powerful. I also think too, with like mental health, like we're doing the push-up challenge this month, and we see the stats every day, right? Of like how many people see this as a benefit, and how many people, this changes aspects of their life. I mean, speaking for myself, like mental health has been huge for changing aspects of my life. But it's like, you see all these statistics that, yes, this is something that is wanted, something that people need. And yet we go internal and we retract and we're hesitant to step into this space.
Yeah.
And so that's the real invitation here, is like, lean in, really lean in and like find containers like this that allow you to just speak to that or experience that. And heck, at the start, maybe it is just listening, but understanding that we're all going through it in some way, shape, or form. You're not alone.
Yeah.
And just can I add one thing to the listening piece? Because it came up earlier, but you're just saying listening. It's like, listening is such an active thing. And that's, I think, one thing that's really valuable, and that a lot of the men learn over time, is it's like, you don't need to give any type of advice or feedback or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like, the best thing that you can give anyone, we're talking about attention.
Attention.
Give someone your attention.
Yeah.
Just listen to them deeply, feel them, that's the transformative aspect.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
like, yeah, sometimes you'll say like a nice word or like a helpful reflection, and that's beautiful. But I remember like even some of the men in the group being like, oh, I don't feel like I'm bringing value, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
like listening.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like having you in the space and having your presence and your energy and your receptivity and listening, it's this it bends the giving and receiving, right? Like it's like we don't realize it's like what you're giving someone is the receiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when we had it, like it even happened in our circle last night, where we had guys, they led their, and this is the newer guys, which I understand too, but they led their share with, oh, well, I'm embarrassed to share.
Yeah,
I don't know
Comparative.
if I should share.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then they shared, and how much like benefit did they get from that, you know? So it's like that hesitation, like it's just like breaking that, like out of that like shackle that's been created by society.
Well, which is part of coming into a space, because we have those stories that it's like, I should feel shame. And then it's about being in a safe space where we're going to show you like, look, I get you have shame and all these little stories about you shouldn't bring this stuff out, but then you do. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to let it be there for a second. And you have a group of guys that are like, and we still love you.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh, okay, now I can like keep going into that, right? And that, I mean, I remember the first time feeling that in my life of like, oh wow, okay, this is actually all welcome here. Like, holy shit, okay, this is the real human thing. And it's beautiful. And I love like the inadequacy piece, the pressure, the not enoughness, like the fact that we're in winter, which like we associate with the energy of the king. And like from an archetypal perspective, the wound of the king is not feeling enough. Like I'm not doing enough, I'm not being enough, I'm not enough. And so that's the other piece, is like, yes, not only are we, you know, finding commonalities in how we relate, but like there's literally an archetype created because of how common this is for men to experience across time forever. That people in like the 70s and 50s and earlier were writing about this, like, and so it's like, man, you're not alone, you know. Maybe your experience is so unique, but once we get into this emotional world, we're all human. We all experience anger and guilt and shame and sadness and pain and joy and ecstasy. It's all the same emotion that we're tuning into, and it's like that's how we're gonna bond together. Like we're not necessarily gonna bond over that, you know, you might like hockey, I might like football, and you might like soccer.
Even into sports.
You're not even into sports, but we all can bond over the joy of what it feels like to succeed in those moments, whether it's in football or whatever, art, you know. So it's like, oh, okay, now we found our common thread and we can speak the same language, and it's helping guys to understand like, yeah, how do we start to speak this language? And that's what a community like ours is about, is like giving the modern man the foundations to start to learn the language that like collectively we're picking up on and getting more adept at, and one that women are asking for, you know, like they are adept. They've been doing this for so long, and they're like waiting for like the men to be like, hey, when are you going to meet me here? You know, I know you can like provide and do the logic thing and make money. It's like, that's so great. But like, can you hold me in those precious moments? And that's a benefit, I think, you know, if I can hold my brother and his emotions, like, of course, when I get home, it's also very like easeful for me to hold emotions with my partner. Like, so.
Agreed.
Because you're held within also like a larger container. So it's like also like, you know, your partner in some ways is like my partner too, in the same way that like there's just like I have a relationship with both of you that goes deep. And so like anything that it's just a larger system, you know, like it's not sole source. It's not these nuclear families where it's like so much pressure on individuals, right? It's just like a big system. So it's like, oh, when there's a lot of pressure here, let's release that, you know?
Agreed.
Yeah. And that's what I'm looking forward to, like exploring more and more. It's like we're still discovering what brotherhood can offer, and it's an ongoing journey, which is what I love about, I feel like what we offer is not a prescriptive approach. It's like, hey, we're in here figuring this out, And, you know, what's going to be helpful for shaping this is like you taking a seat at the table with us and having a conversation so that we can shape this together. Because, yeah, how can we leverage community? I mean, even the eggs, you know, you bring eggs to us now on a weekly basis, which is beautiful. It's like, oh, okay, like that's such a cool thing. And some of the work we're doing to help communities and, yeah, talking about like a relationship, it's like, oh, how can you support my relationship to thrive, and how can I support yours?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, there's all this like excitement that's coming up for me now of like, oh, what can we really do with community, with brotherhood?
The beautiful thing about the community is that it's ever evolving with the people that take a seat at that table.
Yeah.
Right. And so we don't have a curriculum. Yeah, we have a structure, you know,
of course, yeah.
But the uniqueness and what weaves and meanders and all of that is the uniqueness that is brought in by each and every man that steps up and sits at that table. And so that's the other invitation is like, you're unique, you know, in your way, you have something special that to give to the world. So yeah, like bring it, you know, bring it here.
It's an arena to play with these things. Like this weekend, we have one of the guys in the group coming to our house to practice sharing something of his gifts. The next weekend, we have a bunch of guys that play music coming to jam because they want to have a jam circle. It's like all these little offerings. People have ideas. Hey, let's make a library of all the books we have that we can share our resources together. Cool. Hey, let's do this collective investment. It's like, oh, wow, all of these things that like I didn't plan, you didn't plan, they're just happening. And it's like, cool, we follow the flow, follow the thread within that structure that we have, which is just beautiful. Yeah. All right. Anything else anyone wants to add on this that feels important, relevant?
Take care of yourself. Don't do it all on your own.
Yeah, it's a tough world right now. There's a lot of crazy shit happening, and like that's something I bring up and I see, and I think in the collective consciousness right now, like, you know, Epstein files keep everyone's talking about, and it's like, holy shit, man. Like, I don't need much more information to go deep into that, but it's like, I know that, yeah, there's a lot of shadowy shit going on in men who are in positions of power. And then I don't like that. That's out of integrity. There's no accountability. And that's a really strange world. And the only way we're going to like create a world that is different is by actively participating in it. And so, you know, I hope that conversations like this can have that ripple out effect, and that we can get more and more people at the table to start saying like, this is a little backwards, and let's write the course of our ship here.
Yeah, and I think if you focus on the global and the big scale picture, it might feel overwhelming.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, how do I make an impact as one single human being in a world of 8 billion, right? And so this is where containers like this are where the difference can be made, because we're not a container of one person. We're a container of 25 plus men. You know what I mean? That are getting together on an active basis, right? And making a difference in their community, and it's spreading out. And you're seeing it. And so all of a sudden, you're not alone. How do you make a difference? This is exactly how you make a difference, because the impacts are being felt in your community, in your circles, and all of a sudden that ripples out. And then what impact is that having? So that's the way you make the change. Don't focus on the big. Start with what is close, you know, and then the ripple itself will grow.
What is it, the Ram Dass quote? Like, the greatest thing you can do for me is like caring for yourself, you know? That's
absolutely.
Very paraphrased.
You know, it's the same thing as like, be the change. We have so many sayings that we could have in here that are the same thing. And then I think one thing that I would add is in terms of going against the grain on this war for our attention is it can be a radical transformative act to slow down. And to soften, and to like not be brought in, because there's going to be so much information out there, like they're trying to hit your buttons, right? Like the external world is trying to trigger you, get you out of what's going on in your experience and have your attention out there. And so it's a radical act to just say like, hey, I need to like cut some information out. Like I need to spend some time in my community with the people that I love, with myself, take rest. I mean, that was a big thing that like everyone was talking about yesterday, is like, you have your Zen routine, right? And you know, like I got to do my nightly Zen routine. to be on top and to be strong mentally and strong in the other pillars of life. And so it's like, yeah, soften, rest, take the time. Sometimes it's like, you know, we're really incentivized to take action quickly and like really try to recognize, is this a situation where urgency is needed?
Yeah.
Because so many people make the accident of saying everything is urgent because it gives you an inflated sense of importance.
Yeah.
You know, we all do it.
That just brought up a piece with one of my one-on-one clients that one of their like acts of rebellion sometimes is like to just like fuck off with their diet and everything and have a night where it's just like, I'm going to indulge in like pizza and some beers and all of this stuff. And I was like, okay, like cool if that's what works. But like also, you know, that's kind of what everyone's doing is numbing. So like this thing that tells you like you're, you know, rebelling, it's like actually you're doing exactly what is like pointing you towards is to just like check out, you know, numb yourself with this stuff because there's too much to carry. It's like, what if you actually were like a revolutionary?
It's pretty conventional of you to try to rebel in that way.
Exactly.
And you can see the light in his like, oh shit, man. And so yeah, I think that's a beautiful piece. Like the revolution is really like rest and softness, and like how do we ripple that out more?
And rest is like, a lot of us will look at it and go, well, that's me doing nothing. And if I'm doing nothing, you know what I mean? This isn't productive. This isn't moving forward. It's like, no. That recharge is exactly what you need, right? Like plug in your phone so that it can recharge. Like everyone does it. You know what I mean? You're the phone.
Totally.
You need to be plugged in and just rest.
Yeah. And you can't just like plug it in for 5 minutes and then it dies and plug it in for 5 minutes. It's like, that's so annoying to have that kind of relationship. It's like, leave it for a couple hours, let it charge fully.
Prioritize the rest.
It's the same thing as like going into the gym. Yes, you do concentrated short bouts, but it's like, you know, like anyone that's into getting bigger or getting stronger, rest is like, the top bodybuilders are like, I gotta rest and eat. Those are the two things that are going to differentiate me from a really average person. It's not gym time.
Well, your growths don't happen in the gym. They happen when you rest.
Exactly.
So.
And that's what I think, you know, as a community, like I at least am oriented towards like, that's the mission is to like, I'm in service to, like, you know, cultivating more rest and safety for our communities, for women, for children, for ourselves as men, for everyone. Like, and how do we do that? We have to create safety. We have to have boundaries. We have to take action and do all these things. But the point of that is so that we have this beautiful village that's like safe and restful. And you go in and kids are playing and women can relax. They don't have to have their guard up and not trusting things. It's like, oh man, that's the future we're creating. That's the reality we're creating now. That's a beautiful place to end.
Beautiful.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. Again, if you're in Ottawa here next week, next Thursday night is our open house. If you're online, stay tuned here. Join us on Discord. The link will be in the comments here. Would love to connect with you. Come introduce yourself. The community's always growing. Thanks so much.
All righty. Take care.
Bye, everyone.